Hey, what's up, everybody? Wow, what a move, guys. What a move. And like we've been talking about, this range here, once it breaks, if it was the upside or the downside, it's going to be a big move. Unfortunately, we broke to the downside, which is not really a surprise because we were talking about this massive opportunity or possibility that we would break to the downside because of this descending triangle. I figured we would come down here and maybe kind of chill out a little bit and then drop and give us a little bit of time to react, but it was just super fast, super furious, lights out. So hopefully nobody got completely obliterated on that. But I was out of the market. I was waiting. I wasn't going to chance it. I wanted to wait and make sure, what we were getting. So we had a real possibility this could have broke to the upside. But why did it break to the downside? Well, obviously, the global markets are always going to be the answer. But the big reason why we broke down is because it was a liquidation event, right? We were building up so much bullish longs in here that this was called a long squeeze, right? So what happened is it was just a cascading, everyone had their stop loss right here, right? Because you're in a descending triangle. As soon as we broke it, it triggered everybody's stop loss. And that's why you have this cascading event. It's actually a good thing that we had it so violent. The reason why it's good that it was fast and furious and so violent is because if this were to just drag on, and let's say it broke down, boom, 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 we come back up and retest, and boom, 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 we come all the way down, boom, 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 it would have just taken forever. But I'm glad it actually was really, really fast. It's a higher probability that we can break. This is more looking so like a flat, right? We have 3 waves down, we have 3 waves up, and like I've been saying for a long time, this could possibly be 3 waves down, and that's exactly what we got. And this ABC, specifically the C wave, right? We were just talking about this the other day. The C waves are very fast and very aggressive, right? And that's what we just saw. So, just like how this is A, B, C, look at C wave. Look at the C wave. Okay, now A, B, C, look at the C wave. You see what I mean? So it's super fast. So if we actually look at this and we take a trend line from here to the top, and I'm going to take this, I'm going to go to the bottom, and you could see it's roughly the same size. Look at that. It's almost perfect. It can't get it like right on the dot, but you get what I'm saying. Like, look, it's almost perfect. The distance between this and this. So that's how you know it's probably done. But where are we now? We're actually right here. So this could still come all the way back down here, and it could still be done, right? This is our low. This is our new low. We have a new lower low, and that came right at $1.58, $1.60. And we were talking about that. The reason why is because if you look over here, first of all, let's take all of this off the screen, and I'm going to let you know what I think is happening. So if we take that off, and let's go right there, and right there, and so let's just start with that first. So it's not quite as low. If you look at this other chart, we're at 235, but this chart is at 199, guys. So that's a massive difference. And you could see where we back tested. So which one's telling the truth? Well, I would go with the one that has the most volume. But if you look at this, we were just talking about the back test level right here, right? So if this was going to be an expanded flat, which it totally is now, right? We have basically one chance left at this being an expanded flat, right? Which is what? 3 waves down, 3 waves up, and then 3 waves back down. Or since it's so long, it could actually be 4 and then 5. Okay, it could be 4 and 5. And if I take this and put it right there, we could actually go a little bit lower. So it could be like 1, 2, 3, we come back up for 4, and then we come down for 5. So it'd be A, B, C. It's an expanded flat. And what we would expect after that expanded flat, we would expect a massive move to the upside. Guess what? We're still going to $10. Okay, everybody's freaking out. Guys, we were down massive, like 40, 50, 60%. I saw. I mean, just look at this. Dog 30%. I mean, earlier I was 60% down, 20%, 20%. You know, Ethereum 10%. You know, so we had a major liquidation event, and you could say, well, that's bad. Well, actually, anytime you get a liquidation event, that actually marks the low, if you could believe it, right? So this would be the worst time to sell. This would be the worst time to get out of the market. Unless you're doing it on a retrace, that's different. But if we're 20% down, I mean, you kind of missed it. So I would just, if you're hodling, I would just continue to hodl. Not financial advice. I could be totally wrong. Maybe you should sell it, right? But not for me. I'm not doing that, you know. So we're going to go back to XRP, but look at Litecoin for a second. Litecoin still looks bullish to me. You know, you got this big wick right down here. Again, liquidations are a lot of times a good thing, you know, because it marks the low, right? If we look at every liquidation event in throughout history, pretty much, you know, a lot of them marked the low. For example, this liquidation marked the low. This liquidation marked the low. This liquidation marked a local low. This liquidation marked the low. This liquidation marked a local low, right? And now we have this liquidation here. This one also marked a low. So anytime you stab with a sharp knife all the way down, it's likely that more than often you're going to get one more little bit of a low, right? For example, you have a big dump and then it pops up a little bit and then you finish, right? Big dump, pops up a little bit, then you finish. Big dump, pop up a little bit, then you finish. So if this is a big dump, you can still pop up and then finish. And the thing about Litecoin now is it's still bullish. Look at, you have a move up. This is your low right here. This is your move up. You have a B, and now we're getting C, guys. This is a good thing, not a bad thing. This is a good thing. We are developing the chart bullishly, and you can say, how is this good? This is terrible. Look at the markets. We have it's over. It's totally over. What you know what? For that bullish idea, yes, it was over. And what bullish idea am I talking about? The bullish idea that this was flagging out and we were going to break to the upside. That idea is toast. That's not going to happen anymore, right? So now we have one more idea left, which is what? Which is our expanded flat. This is actually a regular flat. It could have been a running flat, but the running flat's not going to happen. So chances are we're going to get an expanded flat or a regular flat. So is the low in? I mean, it's really, really hard to tell right now. Obviously, it's Friday. We're going to go into Saturday and Sunday, which is even less liquidity. I tried to sell a little bit of Litecoin on the retrace right here. And you say, well, why would you sell? I thought you said don't sell. On the retrace. Look at this. I had some Litecoin on Coinbase. Okay, look at it. Here's the dump. We're chilling. Nothing. Bam! Slam down. I did not sell here. We went all the way back up. Look at this. We built a base. We built a top right there. I tried to get out right there. Coinbase wouldn't let me. And eventually I was able to do it. And then what happened? And now we're coming down. So I was able to get out of that. But yeah, this is going to take a long time to fix itself. It's not going to just rage on up unless we get something crazy as far as a news situation, a news event, right? I'm still bullish long term. I know it's like, how can you possibly be bullish right now? It's impossible. I'm still very bullish long term, because if you look at the long term chart, for example, of Ethereum, just look at this, right? You have, again, 3 waves down, 3 waves up, and this is exactly what XRP did. And then you had 3 waves down. So boom, boom, boom. And then what happened? You had an explosion to the upside. So what's happening now? The whole market just got obliterated. But look at Ethereum. You could barely tell what happened just by looking at this long-term chart. Year after year after year after year after year. In the bigger context of things, guys, I'm trying to explain. In the bigger context, this is nothing. This is just a little blip on the radar. It basically means, we have a 1, we have a 2, we have a 3, we have a 4. So what do you think comes next? A 5. What if it doesn't happen? Well, then I would expect this to be, you could see right here. First of all, let's look at this. If it fails, I would expect it to be this. So we have a 3-wave move there. Or actually, I don't think that's the way I had it. I think it was A and then B. Or, yeah, A, B, and then C. Right? But this came up further. So it was actually a 3-wave move. So you could say 3, 3, and then 3. So we have a 3-wave move there. So it could be finished, but I don't think it is. The shape of it doesn't look right to me. It could also be a W, X, Y, X, Z. The shape does not look right to me. So what I would suggest is that this is still a 3-wave move down. So then we would get a 3-wave move up, and then another 3-wave move down, and then go up. So that's my new idea for Ethereum. If we could break out after this is finished, that'd be unbelievable, but I don't think so. I think it's going to be a little bit bigger, because look how big this wave is. Look how monstrous this wave is. First of all, we really don't want to break below the channel here, or this zone right here. You could see Ethereum was backtesting this zone, and look, it's holding it, right? So far, so good. So if I go out a little bit further, again, this could be 3 down, and then we could get 3 up, and then maybe 3 back down, and then go up. And it would still flag out. It would still be very bullish, right? Remember, the low is way down here. We had a massive impulse, and we're at the top. So theoretically, we can come all the way down like this, and it'd still be technically okay, right? Because you take this wave right here and you cut it in half. That's probably where we would end up going, somewhere in this zone, right? So if it's going to start working its way down, I could say, well, that could be an A, and that could be a B, and that could be a C. Maybe this is, you know what I mean? And that could be our 1, and that could be our 2. Because this is still a shoulder ahead. Maybe we're coming down here to finish that shoulder, and it's a little bit more of a broader neckline. So we shall see. But Bitcoin, what's Bitcoin doing? Bitcoin's, it's not the greatest, but if you look, you could see very clearly, right? We had 3 waves down, we had 3 waves up, and we had massive dump to the downside. So this could be a flat, A, B, C, A, B, C, right? I don't know if it's finished or not. Maybe it's not, but that's a flat. So if we get 3 down, once this wave is finished, guys, once this wave is finished, I can almost guarantee you we're going back up. Doesn't mean we're going to break the high, but we will go back into a retrace. And when we go into a retrace, that's going to be the pivotal moment. Can we get through the retrace, or do we get rejected? Remember what I was talking about before. We literally talked all about this, all about these possibilities. Right? We talked all about it. And what did we talk about? Well, we talked about if Bitcoin were to get slammed down, right? What would XRP do? XRP obviously would also get slammed down, but then what? Right? Because remember, a lot of times, like if we go back and look over here, right? Bitcoin topped back in 2017, and then we crashed, and then we retraced. Look at what happened during the retrace. So we had the big crash, and then we had the retrace. Well, look what XRP did. It blasted off in that retrace. Okay, so if you say that's something similar is going on here, well, then I would say this, right? If this is crashing down, well, once it finishes, it's going to go into a retrace. Okay, then XRP is also going to go back into a retrace. But the difference could be that XRP just fully breaks out, right? And that's how you know the top is in. The way you know the top is in is if XRP goes to $5 or $6, but Bitcoin stays around 120 or so, and it doesn't participate. It only goes into a retrace. That's how you know the top is in, because that's exactly how it happened the last time and the time before that. So, you know, we're starting to round the curve. You can start to see the curve is starting to round, right? You could see we have a sort of a rising wedge in here. It's starting to get wedged in here. So we got to be cautious in here. It's still not a definitive truth. There's still no, we're still holding this, and we're still inside this base. Bitcoin is still at all-time highs, guys. Okay, we're inside of this base. So yes, XRP broke below the range. A lot of things broke below the range, but Bitcoin did not break below the range. That's very important. Remember, Bitcoin is in this range, and we came back to retest the bottom of the range, but we did not break below the range. We have to understand that. Now, if Bitcoin breaks below the range, then we can say, okay, it's going to be a little bit more of a journey, right? Because this could be like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we get 5. So 3, 3, and 5. So anytime you have a three-way move, you don't know if the last three-way move is going to be 3 or if it's going to be 5. You don't know until you keep tracking it, and then you figure it out. So let's zoom in and let's look at the smaller time frames here. So I think we're going to be cooked for now. Now someone's asked, would you buy the dip here? Yes, obviously. Anytime you have a big liquidation event, totally buy the dip. Not financial advice, but dollar cost averaging. Totally. Anytime you have a big market deleveraging, you totally want to buy that dip, even if it's just a little bit. Even if but my stomach is sick. I'm sick to my stomach. Oh, this is horrible. I can't buy the dip right now. It feels so wrong and it feels so dirty. Well, that's how you know it's the right thing to do. That's how you know it's right. When your instincts tell you it's wrong, or what I should say, when your emotions tell you when it's wrong, that's when it's right. That's how I made most of the money I ever made was from days like this. One of the best days ever was COVID, when that whole crash occurred. I was like totally into it. I was buying left and right like crazy because I felt like this is my opportunity. And I don't know if this constitutes as an opportunity, but it definitely does for XRP. So if we look at XLM, all right, this is a little bit different. So XLM could still be a running flat, right? you have 3 waves down, you have 3 waves up, and you have 3 waves down. But I don't know if it's finished yet. It doesn't look quite finished. I would have liked to seen it come down a little bit more and then come up. Okay, so I heard Blockchain back here on Twitter Spaces, so if you want to go listen to what he has to say, basically he thinks, I believe he thinks that the bear market is here, but I don't think so. I think it's more of a mid-cycle correction. I don't think we're going to get a full-on bear market. Why? Because we've been in a bear market. I mean, just look at XLM. I mean, this could possibly come down like this, right? You know, we would get 3 waves up, okay? And then 3 waves down, and then we would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves up. That's what I'm thinking, guys. And this would be, you know, a running flat, and you can technically say that, and then or 3 down and then 3 up, right? Something like that. So I really think that this is still bullish, right? Again, you got a 3-wave move working here. So let's keep an eye on it. Let me go back to XRP now. So let's look at the 3-month chart. So if we look at the 3-month chart, nothing's wrong. Okay? Let's just try to be level-headed here. The 2-month chart, nothing's wrong. The monthly chart, oh my God, look at the monthly chart. Looks really good because it looks to me like a 3-wave move. I mean, does that not look like a 3-wave move? You have an impulse to the upside, okay? And you have a 3-wave pullback. How is that bearish? Explain it to me. How is that bearish? That's not bearish. That's bullish. Okay? That doesn't mean it's going to break out tomorrow or next week or even next month. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is once this wave here, so you can see, look. This is a wave right there. That is a wave. That is a wave. And that is a wave. They're all individual waves. Okay? What I'm telling you right now is once this wave is finished, it could be finished now. It could be finished a little bit later. It could go way the hell down there and scare everybody back way the hell down here. And it could still technically be an expanded flat. And if that occurs, once this wave is finished, guess what? We're going back to the upside. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to break out, but I think we will. I think we will break out. XRP is used to going sideways. Look how long it went sideways here. Okay, so we're still, technically, guys, we have not broken the range on XRP. Well, we did on this range. That's what we were waiting for. But the big range, the most important range is not broken yet. We wicked through it, right? And look what happened the last time we wicked through it. I can't stand those lines. I gotta get it like a zone here. What's going on? Okay, favorites. That's what's. So yeah, you really need a zone. This is our zone, and this is our zone. Okay, and you can see very clearly that, you know, when we had this liquidation, we came back up, but then we had another one. Right? So, and now we have another one. So we're pushing it, right? And that's building the base. So if you compare this to, for example, Bitcoin back over here, you could see something very interesting. Look at this, guys. I mean, come on, look at this. Okay, you have a range. It's not like we had a crash. It was a crash, but it was a liquidation. This was an event, okay? This was a thin order book, low volume, quarterly candle, right? A new quarter, stock market pullback, dollar going up, right? Everything convexed into one situation. And that situation led to a cascading margin call, right? They call it a margin. If you don't, basically a lot of people got liquidated. I'm so glad I wasn't in any trades. I was actually riding my bike, and I went to go check my phone, and I saw XRP was down like 30%. I'm like, whoa, what? Oh my, I missed it, right? It just gave me no time to react, because I would have totally went short right here, right? So if you look here, you can kind of see the examples that I'm explaining here. So there's your capitulation, and look at this. Here's another capitulation. Okay, and if you look at this right here, wrong trend line, and let's take that and we'll go there, a little bit of a triangle. Same thing here, a little bit of a triangle. Okay, so there we go. And we were just talking about this. Look, this was just a screenshot of the other day, going over the same thing. Obviously we went below that, right? We completely wicked above, but we're okay right at the moment. So here we are. So you could say A, B, and then C. Whoa, what happened there? There we go. So there we go. I just did all that. Looks like a good thumbnail to me. So let's see. So when Bitcoin came down, obviously we had an A, B, C. We had a big flat right here, right? Same thing here. Let's see if we could build a base. This is our next step. First of all, we want to see. I'm glad that the market made a move, right? It was just boring. I'm glad the market made a move, because now we can get moving, right? So essentially we want to see, okay, we just had the big crash. Now, are we going to chill out just like what Bitcoin did over here, right? Obviously it's going to take a little time. It's going to take a little bit of time, but let's see how it plays out. All right, so you could also see this, for example, A, right? 3 waves up, B, and then you had a little bit of a descending triangle there. What happened? You dropped down, you met with the line, you came up, and then you had one more low. And that was it. And then we pumped, and then we flagged, and then we continued. So if we were to repeat that same scenario, guys, the same scenario, look, A, B, C, right? If we were to repeat that same thing, then what we could see potentially is a little bit of, once this finishes, we'll come up and then get one more drop, and then come up and then flag out like this, just like that, and then break out. Because I still believe, guys, we're going to $8 to $10. Okay, I still believe that full-heartedly. This doesn't change anything from a big picture perspective. All it changed is it's going to take longer, but it's still coming, right? It's still going to happen. Again, we're going to get more regulation, more crypto stuff, right? We still have the XRP ETF. There's a lot of stuff. I can't wait for a Litecoin ETF, an XRP ETF. You're going to see baskets of ETFs, right? So let's take a look at something else. So this one actually fell quite a bit. It's below $2. But look how much it's up, guys. If we look at the smaller time frames here, look at this. You could say, well, look how massive. A lot of people bought the dip. Look, we went all the way to 116, guys. XRP went up 102% in 30 minutes. Does that make sense to you? Let me say that again. XRP went up 100%, right? So we had a big crash. First of all, how big was that crash? From here to there, we had a 60% crash. XRP crashed 60%, guys. Okay, and then once it crashed 60%, then it went back up. It went back up 100%. Okay, so it's still not like it's because if this was a real crash, it would just continue to cascade down and down. It would be massive panic selling. This is not panic selling, guys. This is a volume situation. This is an order book. This is a margin liquidation. This is leverage. This is the market's way of deleveraging, right? It's like when you have a flu and you have a fever, right? This is the market having a fever, right? And the fever, what does the fever do? It actually combats the virus. It heats up the virus so it can cook it. This is exactly what's happening. The market is healing itself, guys. And you can say, well, this is bad, this is horrible, we're crashing. No, this is good, this is cleansing, right? If you eat something bad at Taco Bell, like I did 2 years ago, I'll never eat there again, ever. Horrible experience. I had major food poisoning, gross food anyway. And basically what happened, I was vomiting. Why did I vomit? Because my body's trying to get rid of the poison. Well, what the hell's the market trying to do? It's trying to get rid of the poison. What is the poison, guys? Leverage. Everybody's leveraged up, and that's the problem. And that's what happens, right? That's what happens. You'll never see the stock market fly 60% in a day, ever. This is why this is the best market on earth, right? I've been through, it feels like many liquidations, and this is no different, right? We learn from them. So look at that. Look at the market right now. Let's go to the 1 minute chart here. Wow, look at that. We had a big pump. Okay. Looks like we had like 3 waves down, 3 waves up. Is that 3 waves back down? Is that like a little flat there? And is that a little 1-2? And are we pumping right now? Very possible. Looks interesting. All right. Well, let's look at some other charts. So Monero. Wow, look at Monero. So yeah, it wasn't too sustainable because you had that little bit of a wedge here. But essentially, you got this impulse 3-way pullback. 1, 2, or A, B, and then it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that could be 3, even though it looks like 5. The subwaves could be part of the third of the ABC itself. So this could be boom, boom, and now we're starting our descent, our 3-way move. Still bullish on Monero. I just think, just like this, how it took a little bit extra time, I think this is also going to take a little bit extra time. So, I'm sure there's a lot of great coins on sale right now. Look at Bitcoin dominance. This is exactly what we wanted. We wanted it to crash, which it did, and we wanted it to retrace, which we wanted to get rejected, and then we want it to continue to come down. We don't want it to break the high. So that's good. Litecoin. Let's see if I made the right decision on. Yeah, I'm glad I did. I did sell my Litecoin, so I sold it up here. So I'm okay. I only sold half of it, but it wouldn't let me sell it. Coinbase is ridiculous. I'm a Coinbase member, so I don't have any trading fees unless it's like the spread, or I don't know, like it's premium, but then you still have to pay some kind of a fee. It's kind of weird, but yeah, this is a very sharp move. So it could have been worse. It could have been like, take your time, come back down, come back up, take your time, come back down, come back up, take your time. And it could have just taken forever. We ripped the band. We have to be kind of grateful in a way. We have to be kind of grateful because it ripped the Band-Aid off. Okay, so we talked about all the big boys. Let's look at Theta now. This is the one that we need to talk about. So let's go to Theta. So if we go to Theta, Theta is down 37%. So Theta completely capitulated. So Theta is basically done, guys. Done meaning, I think, this was one of our, this is exactly one of our ideas. Which is what? Which is, we have a base, right? We have an impulse to the upside. Okay, we have an A, right? We have 3 waves up. Okay, that's your B. It's a flat. And then what do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we have 5, guys, and that's your wave C. I think there's a very good chance that Theta is done. Meaning, I mean, not done completely on the smaller time frames, but as far as the bigger context of things, let's see here. Let's put, where's my favorites? Man, I'm still getting used to that crazy change they made. Look at that. That's a perfect back test. Look at that, guys. That's a perfect back test right there. So we officially back tested the base, which I thought it was a 50-50 chance we could have did it. My main idea, though, I will say my main idea was what? Was 3 waves up, 3 waves down, and we were going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves up. It was going to be a bigger 3. But you know what? I'm glad we actually broke down. Why? Because let me explain something. If we were to do 3 waves up, 3 waves down, and we went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, guess what? If we would have done that, then we would have had to come back into reaccumulation and then break out later. But the fact that it broke down now means that we don't have to go into reaccumulation because we already have a 3-wave move, right? We have an impulse, we have a crash, we have a retrace, and we're already in we're in reaccumulation. Rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation. And then we go sideways and then we break out. As opposed to going back up and then coming back down and reaccumulate. It would have been more bullish short term, but it would have taken longer. Long term. So it's not a really sexy looking 3-wave move, but it's still a 3-wave move, guys. I mean, the way I look at it is this. Theta, you have a wave 1, right? And you have A, B, C. You have a wave 2. So this is our wave 2. And if you take, freaking spammers, if you take if you take this whole wave right here, right, and you cut it in half, it went a little bit lower than halfway, though, a little bit lower than halfway. But what's more important is it back tested the base, right? So you can even say, this kind of a triangle look. For example, let me show you Bitcoin real quick, back over here. There we go. Right? You got your impulse, come back down. Impulse, you got this kind of a little bit of, it's not the greatest, but it kind of highlights a little bit here where, you had this volatility slow down, same thing right here, and then bam, a big drop. But look what happened. That was the end of the drop. So if this is the end of the drop, then we should see a retrace. We should see this continue higher. So in my opinion, there's no coin. If I was going to buy any coin today, it would be Theta. Why? Because it suffered the most, it got slammed the worst, and it backtested the base. So just because you buy it today doesn't mean anything. It could take another year for this to play out. Now, right? Depending how it plays out down here, we want to see it take off, right? So we have an A, B, C, we have a three-way pullback. Let's build a base and let's take off. So we can narrow. So what this did. So what happened today? What happened is we had two ideas for Theta. Now, guess what, guys? We only have one idea. So by us crashing like this, what did that do? What did that do? What that did was it eliminated all the other ideas and it narrowed it down to one idea. So now it's only one idea. So what is the one idea? The one idea is this is a three-way move and we're going to be finishing soon, hopefully, and we're going to continue higher. Pretty simple, right? Is it going to be that easy? I mean, we'll see. But yeah, this is totally like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, right? Or you could say like A, B, C. I mean, is it possible that this is 3 and this is a big 3 and then we go up in 5 and it's some weird flat like that? And I don't know. It's possible, but it would be more of a running flat. And that would be your A, and then that would be B, and then we would still have to come down for C. So hopefully not. Wow, look at that, man. That was a massive. If anybody caught the bottom, I was riding my bike. I didn't. I wish I would have been glued to the screen. I could have potentially gotten a better price. There we go. I'm looking for the small time frame. So look at the small time frames. Look at that. Look at Theta. It bottomed out here, went all the way up. I mean, that's insane. I mean, basically, Theta is up 123% off the low. I mean, that's some serious move. Basically, we had 100% volatile days on a Friday. Crazy. So I don't know what it was that completely broke it, but we do know it was a liquidation, a margin. I mean, just look at that. These happen at least once or twice a year. So the fact that it happened means we can move on, right? Load up, back the truck up, buy as much as you can, and just freaking hodl, man. But here's the thing. I wouldn't buy it. I think we're going to revisit the low. I would wait till Sunday. I think, this could come up here like this, but I think what's going to happen is we're going to eventually revisit the low. Unless we're just completely crazy bullish and we just keep going up. I mean, that's possible too, but that's why we dollar cost average, because we don't know for sure. But another thing is, look at the RSI. The RSI is so oversold. Wow, let's go to the weekly on the RSI. Let's look at it. Okay, the weekly's okay. The 2-day chart, wow, the 2-day is very... but we have bullish divergence though. Oh my God, look at the crazy bullish divergence we have on Theta there. Interesting. So the daily is the most oversold it's ever been since freaking July of 2023. When we had capitulation there. So, what happened? We came up, we did this. So if that were going to do the same thing, it would be something like that. So what about Theta Fuel? I have not even looked at Theta Fuel. Honestly, I have not even looked at it. So let's take a look together. It's going to be the same. Oh, you know what? Whoa, it's not even that bad. It's not even that bad. It's not even bad. It looks great. Look, we have 5 waves, dude. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's your C. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's your A. We have 1, 2, 3. There's your B. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's your 1. We have a 1, A, B, C. We have a 2. It's a weird looking 2, right? If I put it on regular scale, it's going to even look more insane, right? Or this could be barely beginning, because you have a shoulder, you have a head, you have a shoulder here. So I don't know. I would be a little bit worried. It does look good on log scale, but I'm still worried that we could go lower, just because it didn't really break down all that much. So, but we do have 5 waves, but I don't know if we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves on the 5th. XRP versus Bitcoin. Oh my God! XRP versus Bitcoin came literally all the way back down to the low. That's crazy. I've never seen that before. That's insane. That's crazy to me. Look at that. We had 1, 2, 3, 4. Look at that. A, B, C. All the way down. So if this can... And it already shot back up. That would be a crazy wick if we can end that wick like that. So here's the weekly candle. We really, really, really want the weekly candle to have as best chance as possible at holding that low. So this was a full-on liquidation. If you look at total 3, you know, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, A, B, C, that could be 2. Right? Or we get 3 and then 5, and that could be 2. If it's going to be a big bear mark. So that's the options, guys. Either we're going to have a mid-cycle correction, A, B, C, go, or we're going to have a bear market, a full-on bear market, which is what? Which is 3, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then that. So that's a big difference. You're talking all of 26, all of 27. So you have 1 year, you have 2 years. That's 2 years from now, right? It took 2 years to get from here to here. Okay, so if we come back down, you know, 50% of that could take, you know, around a year before we get going again. Just looking at it from that point of view. But this could still be, you know, a 3-wave pullback, and because we're still right at the highs. I mean, just look at this. You know, we have a shoulder, we have a head, and this could be another shoulder right in here. And now we're kind of flagging out, capitulating, you know. So if this can stay in this little box in here, we could still break out. So I still think we're going to have a super bullish crypto under Trump. But remember, Trump still has 3 years left. So, you know, Filecoin is no longer in my interest because it looks like it's bottlenecking, and I don't like that. Where you come like this, it's bottlenecking. It looks like it needs another capitulation. So, other than that, a lot of things look pretty bad as far as the way they look. You know, this could be a diag 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, and then you have A, B, C, 2. It looks definitely plausible. We looked at XLM, but XLM, you know what? XLM looks different on the futures chart. This looks better because it looks more proportional. So what a move, man. Man, that would have been a crazy move if we were in that short, but so now what? Well, what's ADA? I didn't look at this one. Oh, wow. This is all new to me too, so I'm still trying to understand. And we're going to have better videos, better results. Once the dust, guys, let the dust settle. Once the dust settles, then we can kind of figure out what's going on. But right now it's carnage. So, I mean, I don't know, but you have an impulse, three-way pullback. You have an impulse, three-way pullback. You have an impulse, three-wave pullback. So what is that? What does the trend suggest? What does the trend suggest? It suggests, doesn't it suggest that? You know, it appears so. Or if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, A, B, C, 2. It's a leading diag. A leading diagonal. So it's leading into the next wave. Very possible. Or the ultimate the ultimate bearish scenario for ADA is really bad. So you would have it A, this is your B, and now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down for C, and it's going to be really bad. Really bad. And then we go up. But either way, even if it is really, 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 really bad, and we come all the way down to like 10 cents, even 5 cents, guess what? We should go back to $2 to $3 to $4 to $5 after that. So just look what happened here. You had this big move and then a bam, right? Big move and then bam, right? Same kind of situation. So jeez, a lot of these got just obliterated. All right, let's take a look at something else here. So let's look at total. Let me get rid of that. So total looks like exactly like Bitcoin. I mean, there's nothing really there. Yeah, it looks terrible. Looks bad. I mean, man, it's a tough one because on one hand it looks like a flat, on the other hand it looks like a top. So here's what I'll say: if this is finished, we should see signs and then a continuation. If it's not, then we should see a pullback and then a continuation down, because you could have like 3 and then 3 and then 3 and then something like that. The market moves in 5s and 3s. 5s and 3s. So look at Zcash. Zcash didn't even flinch on this move. What the? Come on. It didn't even flinch. Like Zcash is like, what are you guys doing? I thought we were bullish. I thought we were going up. I thought we were going to party on the moon. How come you guys are like chilling down in Mexico? We're supposed to be up here at the moon. Zcash is like, damn. You know why Zcash is balling right now? You know why? Because Zcash is one of the few coins that had a B, C that took like, a long time. Since 2017. So, it has a 7-year 3-way pullback. And then it has this impulse, little bit of a flag, and it's shooting up, and now it's right back at the highs here. So that's interesting. XLM versus Bitcoin. I mean, you got an impulse 3-way pullback, so that's interesting. What about BNB? BNB is still looks like a top is in for BNB. It looks like the top could be at least a short-term top for BNB. Okay, so what about the market cap of XRP? Curious to what that is. So the market cap is 142 billion. It's still above the 2018 all-time high. So that's important, right? Because I think the event is over. I think what we're going to see now, if we get more sell-off now, what that sell-off means is, it means that, you know, it's more organic. It's not like a cascading liquidation anymore. It's actually people panicking and trying to get out of the market. But during the panic, what happened? A lot of people bought. There's so many people that bought XRP. It's crazy, right? So from a market cap perspective, right, you're cupping into the resistance. You're cupping into the resistance. You broke out of the resistance. Look at, oh yeah, look at, if you take this zone right here, we literally back tested the zone, right? We're cupping into the resistance, cupping into the resistance. We broke the resistance, and then we had a three-wave pullback, exactly what we were talking about over the last week when we started getting bearish. Why did we get bearish? Because we saw the descending triangle. We've been talking about that descending triangle. I told you guys it was a big risky situation. I said there was a chance that we could break out, but the descending triangle is nothing to play around with, right? So especially in the way it was formatted. So you could see the way it was formatted, we had three waves up, and then we had the descending triangle. That's the worst thing, versus having three waves down and then getting a descending triangle. You know, it could pop the low, but then quickly go back up. So as an XRP hodler, I did sell a little bit of XRP in this descending triangle just to be safe. So now I have some wet cash on the side, or did I call it dry cash? Some dry powder on the side, and I'm just gonna wait. I'm not in a hurry. I'm just gonna wait and see how it progresses. So, but for now, we have this three-way move. Let's see exactly how it plays out. We're going to need to wait. We're probably not going to know really anything until, we'll see what tomorrow brings. Tomorrow's Saturday. But I would expect that this kind of come back down at some point and revisit some of these lows. So, just FYI. What about SHIB? What happened to Shibby? Okay, so the Wyckoff thing is totally off the table, right? Remember we were looking at the Wyckoff thing where this was our creek. You know what? It could still be on the table, but this really has to be the low. It could still technically be Wyckoff, where this is your spring and this is your liquidity grab, and then we kind of come up and curl up. So it could still technically be Wyckoff. We'll see. But yeah, other than that, I think it's a little bit like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got a three-way move, pretty much. Right? So we're going up, 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 up. And remember, we've been going down, we've been going down, we've been going down, we've been going down a long time. So this could be the capitulation that we've been waiting for, right? You have a descending triangle here, right? I didn't even really think about that. And then it kind of, volatility slows, you slam down, right? And then what do? You kind of play around, come back up, and then flag out, and then continue. So that's what we want to see. That's what we want to see, guys. So we got a long journey ahead if that's the case. But other than that, be safe out there. Real quick, we'll look at XRP real quick. We got 30 seconds left. Remember to hit the like button. Drop a comment. Let me know what you think. I wish it was under better circumstances, but you know what? We have to look at the glass half full. You know why? Because we're glad that we ripped the Band-Aid off. Right? I'm glad it was a liquidation other than an organic crash. So it was an extreme liquidation. So yeah, this is looking a little bit 3-ish here. Let's see, you know, it's still pumping. 240 here, 241. Here's the 15-second chart. You know, we came up, we flagged out, and now we're starting to continue to pump. So if you're going to sell, if you're scared, I would start taking profits. If you think, I mean, this is the whole point, right? You have the big crash. You don't sell in the crash. Do not sell in the crash. You wait until it retraces, and then you sell if you want to. So that's why I haven't sold any XRP. The only XRP I sold was the one that I sold in here just as an insurance policy in case we did break down. So, but wow, what a move. So, other than that, guys, I think that'll do it. I don't think there's anything else to say. Let me look at just a couple more things. Just real quick on, wow, that's a massive move on AVAX. Jeez. I mean, that completely took the low. So it definitely shook things up. So, you know, if you follow the X22 report, they called it. Look, I was just listening to, I think it was this one right here. It was this one. Trump confirms we were headed towards $2. This one that he was talking about, you know, Jamie Dimon and a lot of the market guys, saying that, you know, we could bring the market down, you know, the stock market, and the government shut down and all that. He was basically nailed it on the dot. So go follow him. But yeah, guys, that'll do it for this video. Remember, I still think we're going to $10. I just think it's going to be a little bit longer, you know, because look, if you look at the market, once this thing fixes itself, let's get rid of that. Once if this is all we're getting, then I could still say we're going to $10. If we're going to go into a bear market, then we could see this come down a little bit further, and then kind of come back up in a retrace, and then kind of come back down, and then go to the bull market. So it's either going to be, now we have two options. 1, 2, 3, let's go. Or 3, 3, 5, play around a little bit, and then go up. Significantly different, right? So guys, we still have one more chance. And I have a good feeling about it, but it's really hard to tell because, you know, we have the Federal Reserve, we have Trump. We know Trump's going to go head-to-head with the Fed. We know he's going to restructure the Fed, possibly bring us on a gold standard or whatnot. Oh, by the way, what happened to silver or gold? Did silver break out? Wow. No. I don't think it did anything today. It didn't do anything today. Okay, what about XAG, I think? Yeah, silver. Okay, so yeah, silver had a big day today. Kinda. Wow, silver looks crazy. Look at silver, guys. Yeah, that's not the right silver chart. XAG. There we go. That's the right one. Okay. Look at the size of that cup and handle. That's crazy. The silver is the biggest cup and handle in history. In all of the charts. There's no cup and handle that's bigger than silver. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. And any asset on any chart, any stock, anywhere, any day, any time, this is going back to 1980, guys. 1980. I wasn't even alive. I'm sure a lot of you guys weren't alive. But look, this is the biggest cup and handle in history, and we're right at the breakout. So if this breaks out, it's not going to be that good for crypto. So we'll see. Gold looks insane. You know, you got a 1 2 1 2 3. Let's get 4 5 4 5, probably something like that, and then we start to top over. It's almost over. It's not like it's got like a long time to go. I think it's about finished, but I think silver could be the outlier, right? If we start to flag out in here for silver, it's going to be big. So we shall see. But anyways, XDC, yeah, everything kind of hit the low there. So anyways, I will catch you guys on the next one. Remember, not financial advice. I could be totally wrong. Always know that. We broke below the descending triangle. So let's see if it becomes the flat, the three-wave move, and let's see if we can continue higher after we settle in and start building our base and things like that. But we're going to get a lot more information next week. So sit tight, and let's see what happens. So I will catch you on the next one. Cheers.